And we are back again with a brand new episode of Another 24. I am your remarkably handsome host, Taurus Montez, and today I have a very special guest in the building. Now, this guest has worn many hats throughout her career: lawyer, investor, founder, mentor, and a lot more. And now she is the co-founder of Fictive Ventures that specializes in helping our Black entrepreneurs get their ideas off the ground. I have the one, the only, Miss Khadijah Robinson. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Is that a good intro? Did I miss anything?
I'm an auntie.
Oh, your auntie. Okay, man, you got to throw that in there, too. Well, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. How's the weather for you? I know it's kind of cold out there. You good?
I'm not good. I'm so not good. When I looked outside yesterday and I saw snow, I was like, I know that's not what I think it is. I had to do my little big boy take, like, hold up. I went outside, opened the door, and I was like, no. I blame Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, just blame him. It's his fault somehow.
It's definitely his fault. I don't know exactly how, but it is.
And then you go to Chicago, so it's going to be...
Oh, why are you starting off on this foot?
I know. My bad. Let me do what we came here for. So, as I said in your intro, you've worn many hats: lawyer, investor, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm interested to learn about who you were growing up, because you're obviously very accomplished. You're obviously very intelligent, very smart, but you're also very compassionate. And that's not always rolled into one person. So what was your upbringing like, and how did you become this person?
That's so funny that you say that. I feel like if my dad watches this podcast, he will actually have an aneurysm if I do not point out that he is the reason why I have any level of compassion, because apparently I had a remarkable lack of empathy of any kind when I was a child.
What?
So I was always a very smart kid, and my parents were always like, we knew when you were very young that you had an exceptional level of intelligence. You were just doing things that we had not seen kids do before. Your teachers and everybody was like, yeah, she needs to be in, like, whatever advanced anything, right. She needs to be there. But I also was just not nice, and I did not have a lot of tolerance for other people.
Most smart people don't.
Very little tolerance for stupidity. And I'm not gonna lie, I still have low tolerance. But my dad, he loves to tell the story that, like, he came to pick me up from, I think, pre-K. And I didn't realize that he was there yet, but it was end of the day, so we were all getting ready to go. And we were getting our stuff from our cubbies. And this little boy whose cubby was next to mine apparently looked at my cubby and saw something that he wanted to touch and reached in to touch it. And my dad said I jacked him up by his neck. And I was like, don't you touch nothing in my cubby. And my dad was like, my precious little princess. Oh my God, where did she get this from? But I was just very aggressive. And just very direct to the point. My dad's like, yeah, you'll come home. And I'd be like, how was school? And you were like, oh, the kids are so stupid.
Just straight like that, huh?
It's just like, yeah, everybody's really dumb. And my dad be like, well, that's not very nice. I'm like, it's true. So he worked on me a bit. He made it his personal mission to make me a more empathetic person. And that, plus the fact that my parents are like the blackest black people you ever meet. And they instilled that in my sister and I, and essentially turned me into like a little mini Black Panther. All came together into, I love Black people first and foremost.
Right.
And I want us collectively to have all the things, so just doing the little bit I can to try to help us get there.
There you go. So, okay. So you were not very compassionate growing up, but you learned that. That's okay.
For the most part.
Yeah, we can learn
I still do sometimes be like, these people dumb.
Right. So what out of all of those roles that you play, what is it in your core being or your personality that connects all of those? Because I'm sure each one brings something different out of you, but there's still you in all of those.
Oh, what connects them? Honestly, I actually had this conversation with somebody yesterday that I am a get shit done type of person. And I think that's what fundamentally underlies everything, that no matter what ideas I have, the things that I want to do, people I talk to, folks I connect with, or where my interests lie, when I've put my mind to something, am going to make it happen come hell or high water. And folks are going to get with me and get with the program, or they going to get out the way if they know what's good for them. And so that's it. Like, across my life, across the board, I am going to figure out how to make some things work.
Okay. So when that idea flashes in your mind, I just want to hear how your thought process works, because I'm going to steal a little bit of it and use it for myself. But when those ideas flash in your mind, is it automatically, okay, checklist is this? Does it bounce around in your mind and you got to formulate it and crystallize it? Or is it already very structured?
No, I mean, I have random ideas all the time, and I can be a little bit of an obsessive compulsive person, so I can definitely marinate on something for a long time. But you have ideas all the time. Some of them are not great, some are ridiculous. Some of them are great, and I still won't act on them because I don't feel like I'm in the time or place to really do what needs to be done for that particular thing. My mother always told me growing up, and I used to roll my eyes, but now I think there's a lot of validity in this. There's nothing new in the world. If you have the idea, somebody else probably had it or has it somewhere, might be working on it. So I tend to focus on the things that I can't shake, the things that keep coming back up, the things that I honestly just find myself obsessing over for a period of time. Because when an idea has a hold on me like that, then I feel like it's something that there's some reason that it keeps coming up, that I keep thinking about it, that I keep wanting to work on it, and then start trying to figure out what that looks like, what else in the world is happening around this thing, and if there's any real viability there. So I don't usually just jump into shit. Right. I am not a spontaneous person at all. Anybody who knows me knows that I am very typically like, yes, let's do this in January 2027 on this date at this time. And be like, Khadijah, calm down. But I do, when I feel like, when I'm a dog with a bone and I'm like, nah, this one is good, I want to let this one go, then I really sink my teeth into it.
Okay. And do you think, do you attribute that to those ideas and those sparks? Do you attribute that to God, or is it something bigger than you think? Or is it just your intellect trying to take form?
I have always struggled with how I view God and that the role of our higher being and how we operate. And
me too. Just throw that out there.
Because it's like, do I really think that God is intervening in the things that's going on in my life and not someone who's literally dying of starvation somewhere else? Like, why is God poking around in my brain to give me an idea for an app, but not helping people who are suffering in extreme ways? So I really struggle with that, and I have for a long time. Not to say that I struggle with the presence or the existence of God, because I don't, but just in terms of the active role. And I really think that we have been given everything that we need. And our current human condition is based on how we have interacted with one another and the circumstances that we have taken, the things that we have to create. So what I tend to think, and not to say I'm 100%, because I am not one of those people who thinks that they have like the direct connection and ear of God. Like, yeah, God told me, like, okay, girl, God came down and told you today before breakfast, before you had your matcha. So I don't necessarily think like that, but I do feel like the things that I have been given, just at the baseline from the beginning, the family I was born into, the place I was born into, and the natural inclinations that I have were given to me. It's mine to do with what I will. So I gotta do my best.
Right,
Like, it is actually my obligation to do my best.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I approach things. Like, when I have these ideas, or when I have the inclination, when I have a situation that presents itself for me to try to do a little bit of good, it's my obligation to do my best.
There we go. There we go. Well, every gift is a responsibility, and, you can either squander it or you can maximize it.
That part.
Sounds like you are maximizing it, so.
Trying.
You're trying.
Sometimes I maximize laying down and not doing nothing.
We're human. That's all we can do sometimes. But it's okay.
But I would like to say, like, sometimes that's your best. Your best don't look good every day.
Exactly.
Your best sometimes is not good at all.
Right.
That's just your best that day.
Yeah, sometimes all you can do is show up and, just let the chips fall wherever they fall. But so fast forward a little bit, you are a Spelman grad.
Yes, Spelman.
So how did Spelman shape your leadership style, you think?
Ooh, my leadership style. I mean, Spelman shaped so much of who I am that it's hard to parse it down to just leadership style. And not to say that I haven't been fundamentally who I am for a long time.
Yeah.
My best friends have all known me for a long, long, long time, and they will tell you, Khadijah has been this person. Like, she has not changed. She is consistent. But I always encourage Black women, young girls and young women, to think about Spelman in particular and HBCUs in general, because I feel like they are an unparalleled experience that you'll never get again. That it's not possible to get again in this country or really in this world. And at this point, I've been to over 50 countries and I've never seen anything like these institutions, particularly when you're talking about a place like Spelman. As a Black woman in America and on Earth, people hate us. They hate us. Sometimes even our own people hate us. We are not protected. We are not loved. We are targeted. We are blamed for so many things, demonized, sexualized, abused, fired, pushed out of the workplace. Like, it's just so crazy, the things that Black women have had to deal with, not just in this current time, but in this country from the moment that we had the misfortune of stepping foot on these shores. So when I think about a place like Spelman, there doesn't exist in this country any other institution of that size or magnitude that was built for us. And when I say for us, I don't mean the prisons. There may be prisons that have more Black women in them than Spelman College has students, but built for us in terms of our safety, our security, our betterment, our education, our growth as women. There's nothing comparable in this country and maybe even the world. So if you have the opportunity to go and experience that, to become a woman in that place, in that setting, you're never going to get it again, ever. And you should take advantage of it. It is unparalleled. You will never be in another place that was really, truly built for you with your development as a human in mind every step of the way. Everybody that's there is working to help make you better.
Yeah. So did that experience at Spelman kind of foster more of a sisterhood type of mentality in you? I'm sure you had that before, but when you look at, not all the time, but when we look at women in the workplace, or we look at women here or there, a lot of times women are catty, not trying to be sexist or anything like that, but we do see that a lot. But do you think that Spelman kind of somehow, like I said, fostered more sisterhood and deeper connections with your compatriots?
Yeah, and honestly, people are catty. What I have learned is that people are catty. Some of our biggest ops have been men, black men even, but Spelman definitely really impressed upon me the concept of sisterhood. My mother is a Delta. And also went to a HBCU, and she loved to be like, y'all pledge Spelman.
Right,
like,
right.
y'all, they brainwashed you at that school. Y'all are just off the chain. But I mean, not Spelman's sister. I literally this morning in a group chat, unrelated to Spelman at all, saw somebody talking about Brooklyn Tea, which is started in New York. They have a location here, owned by my Spelman sister. And so I was like, oh, that's one of my favorite spots. My Spelman sister owns that spot. Yeah, I love that place. And I'm going to be in New York in December. I'm going to go stop by there. I can walk there from where our house is in New York. So just everywhere I go, honestly, whatever continent I'm on, Spelman and Morehouse and that bond, that connection follows me.
Wow.
So yes, for sure, it has made me appreciate sisterhood, appreciate our HBCUs as institutions, appreciate just black women, and really the true breadth and variety of women that we can be. Right. That was my first time really being immersed in such a diverse group of black women. And being able to see women who are on their skateboarding kick, and women who are into their poetry snapping their fingers, and women who are in the club, they want the grass walls experience of Atlanta, and women who are in the Glee Club and who are singers, and women who are... I went to Spelman with women who no longer identify as women, but who I still consider to be my sisters. So it really gave me that ability to see us in all of the different facets and still see that connectivity and that sisterhood in us, which I believe is like how we should be relating to one another in general as a community.
Yeah, that representation is important. Just to see all, like you said, all those different iterations of what a black woman could be. I know that just opened your eyes and was just a rewarding experience.
Definitely opened my eyes, for sure. Just being thrown in that environment. I mean, I got to Spelman, and I grew up in Savannah/Montgomery, Alabama. And I was definitely not in any kind of like rich kid environment. So getting to Spelman, even being around girls whose parents were just writing a check for them to go to Spelman, and they came to school named Mercedes, was even an experience for me. Because I was like, where you get that from? Like, wait a minute, your parents pay for you to go to school? Like, they just write it. They just got that money in the bank account. I had not been exposed to that type of blackness and that society. So yeah, it was a very eye-opening experience for me. It really set me up to not just tap into my community and that sisterhood, but go out into the world with this new perspective. Spelman, one of the best things that they did was they encouraged every student. They started a campaign actually while I was in school to have every student have some type of international experience. They wanted us all to go out into the world and explore it. And because of that, I went to study abroad in Portugal. That was my first time leaving the country outside of going to the Bahamas or going to like Niagara Falls and stepping foot on the Canadian side before you even needed a passport to do that. And like, it changed my whole life.
Yeah, dang, shout out to them. Shout out to Spelman.
Right?
All right, now we could talk about Spelman all day, but we got more to get to. So moving forward, Harvard Law School. Now that's probably a completely different experience than Spelman. Probably
just a tiny bit.
Just about as opposite as you could get from Spelman. But what did that experience going to Harvard Law, how did that shape your entrepreneurial spirit and your vision?
I hated Harvard Law, and I disliked the vast majority of people that I was interacting with. And so I had a lot of thoughts getting there and really matriculating through, seeing how actually dumb a lot of these people were. So I was like, how did y'all get here?
Even at Harvard, they were dumb. I mean, let's just throw that out there. Even you can go to Harvard and be dumb, all right?
You can, if you look like this. Mm-hmm. There were no people who looked like this who were there who were dumb, which is very curious when they will talk about affirmative action and DEI and all this other stuff, because I'm like, baby, you are the DEI. You are not smart. Your daddy is rich. Your parents was writing checks. Your parents had the forethought to get you a tutor every single step of the way to make sure that you were doing what you need to do to pass these tests and get whatever else. And they were putting you in sailing or whatever the hell they be doing in order to make sure that you had what resume you needed to have. But I promise you, I grew up in Savannah. And it was some Negroes in Yamacraw Village, which is the projects, that was smarter than anybody that I met at Harvard, but they not making it out of Yamacraw to come to Harvard. And so that reality really, really sunk in for me at Harvard, on top of the reality that despite the mediocrity of the people that I was seeing, the folks who were in the majority, they were still going to go on to run this shit. They were going to be our Supreme Court justices and our judges and the leaders of these corporations and the general counsels here and the folks who are running whatever entities. And that's part of the reason why we live in the society that we live in now. And so I knew when I was in law school that I couldn't just take the path that I might have thought I would be on going in, like going to the law firm, getting a good job and working there and, you know, building my little bank account and doing all that, living whatever upper middle class, pseudo kind of rich life, because it was just so meaningless, especially when I was looking around like, bruh, everything can't be run by y'all. And also, we can't bask in being the exception to the rule. I don't give a fuck about being one of the few black people who gets to go to Harvard. Like, that doesn't mean anything when you're in that institution and you find out, one, it was built with literal slave money, slave blood money. And two, we as a community have so much aptitude. We deserve so much more. We deserve to not just be able to get to places like Harvard, but to have our own institutions that we own and that we run that have the ability to influence and penetrate as much as a Harvard. So that kind of set me on a path of, let me figure out how I navigate to do something else that is more meaningful than I'm going to work for this law firm and make some hundreds of thousands a year, which I did for a little while until I figured out how I do something else.
Right. That's the first, a couple things. So number one, you know, we're as black men, black people in general, we're always told growing up we got to be twice as good to just be average in the workplace or wherever we decide to place ourselves. But from what I'm hearing, mediocrity is almost the standard when you look at other communities, the majority of the whites. So to hear that from somebody who's actually experienced it, my main thought is, are we teaching our children the correct thing? Like, is it okay to tell them that we have to be twice as good? Or can we say, you know what, you just do your best and you be who you are?
Ooh, that is a hard one, because the twice as good thing was never about us. It was about them. It was about how white people look at you. Mm-hmm. And white people, especially the way that I talk and how I carry myself, because I've always been very me. Yeah. You know.
No code switching on you.
And my dad and I, my dad is very instrumental in like how I've developed as a human. And one of the things he talked to me about when I was younger was code switching. He was like, you know, sometimes you're gonna have these situations where you won't be able to like use this African American vernacular, and you'll need to carry yourself a certain way. And I was like, nah. He was like, no, I'm like telling you kind of how things are. And I was like, I don't care. I'm not doing that. And he was like, I mean, you kind of got to. I'm like, says who? So I'll be very honest. For me, Harvard was tactical. I hated it, but I would do it again because I knew for what I wanted to do, I needed to be unimpeachable from the white perspective. And for me, that meant a level of pedigree that they could not argue with. You could argue with your mama, but don't argue with me, because you went to UGA law school and I went to Harvard. I went to the top HBCU in the country, one of the best liberal arts schools in the country. Right. What any school, not just talking about HBCUs, like, put some respect on my name. I also did a master's at the University College London, which is one of the top schools in the world. So I was very much thinking about that when I navigated that path. I knew I needed to go to the best law school I could, because I wanted to make sure I had that pedigree. I came out, I went to the best law firm that I could. The best law firm in DC, one of the best top 10 law firms in the country, because I knew I needed that pedigree. I needed to make sure that my resume was tight. You couldn't argue with it. So as much as you might be like, Khadijah look ratchet, Khadijah look, she look crazy, she real, you could not argue with the pedigree. And I did that purposefully up front so I wouldn't have to do it anymore. I don't do that anymore. Like, whatever I'm doing now is because I want to do it. It's not because I think that it's going to be my, like, leg up into the next thing. And I also know who the fuck I am, so I don't have to. I think that that's one thing that I have stepped back from, is attempting to navigate life or carve out how I navigate life based on the white point of view. Because at this point, I really don't care how they think, why they think, what they think. You can think whatever it is that you want to think.
So yeah, you are at this point of your career in life you're kind of insulated from the white influence on how you live your everyday life.
I mean, except for the fact that we're Black in America in 2025, under the purview of Donald Trump and all his compadres, which is a crazy place. 100%. You can't escape it, but I am relatively insulated. The life that I live is a very Black one. I run a Black venture capital firm. I work with Black Ambition as their entrepreneur in residence. And I run an incubator for the Center for Black Entrepreneurship, which is a partnership between Spelman and Morehouse and the Black Economic Alliance. So those are the major things I do professionally. I consult with and advise Black entrepreneurs. I have my Black friends, my Black family. We blackity black. I live in a Black neighborhood, which I made a point of doing when I moved back to Atlanta. Like, I told my realtor, when we get to the neighborhoods to look at these houses, I better not see a single person who don't fit the criteria, or else we leaving. I know where I want to live, and I want to live with my people, and I did that very purposefully. I live off Metropolitan.
Oh, okay.
On the south
that's
side.
Black. That's black. If you're not in Atlanta, just know it's black.
I live like Metropolitan at Cleveland Ave, and I recently was on Instagram just scrolling, and I saw this video that was like, these are the 15 worst streets you could possibly live on in the state of Georgia. And Metropolitan was number 1.
Dang, really?
Cleveland Ave was like number 4. I was like,
whoa.
Wait a minute.
Right.
Y'all calm down. But
I mean, Hollywood Road's kind of bad. It's a couple more over there. They might be a little worse.
Bruh, Metropolitan, they cleaned it up a lot. There ain't even that much prostitution happening over here no more. Not that much.
Just a little sprinkle.
Razzle dazzle. It's like, what y'all talking about? But yeah, like, I made a very conscious decision that this is the life that I wanted to live. This is the happiest life that I can have, because I love being fully immersed with my people.
Gotcha. Beautiful. I'm so happy that you're able to do that. Because, some people they still gotta, for better or worse, tap dance, for lack of a better term. And
I pray for them every day.
To not have to do that, that's a win.
Because that psychological warfare of working in that corporate wide world is crazy.
Woo. Yeah. I did it for a long time. But anyway, let's go for it. So you sold your first company.
Yep.
You grew your second one 20x?
20x.
Like, oh man, that's why I wish this interview could be 2 hours. But okay, so the first company, selling your first company, obviously you have to be on point. You got to have your organization. You got to have your scaling, your exit strategy, and all of that in place. What did you learn from that first experience about entrepreneurship, scaling, and exiting?
Ooh. So, several big lessons. I'm going to just say them real quick. One, be thinking about the exit at the beginning. And you don't have to have it exactly planned out to a T, but where is this going, and what is your role in what you're building in the long run? Because entrepreneurship is hard as fuck.
I say that every single interview. Whew.
Entrepreneurship is hard as fuck. It is hard. And it is not something that I want to be doing 15, 20 years of building in the trenches. Like, that wears on you. So I really think people need to be thinking about the possibilities for where something goes and how they, at minimum, are exiting as they're at the outset, which I wasn't thinking about with my first company. I will never sell a company again, hopefully, knock on wood. I will never sell a company again and go with the company to the acquiring entity. It's usually not a good experience for founders. I don't know. I know one founder out of all the, at this point, thousands of entrepreneurs that I know, who's sold a company, worked for the company that acquired theirs, and had a good experience. Everybody else was out of there before their vesting period was even over, including me.
Strategically, huh?
It's very different when you are the head honcho building something based on the vision that you have in your head. And then now you're an employee working at that thing.
Right.
I mean, there were folks, I'll never forget because I used to be a huge Twitter user, and I had like a really big presence and following on Twitter. And I barely ever use Twitter anymore because...
No, you don't now with that man running.
I'm like, bruh, I don't know who's worse, Elon Musk or Donald Trump. Elon actually, like, that really pissed me off because, like, Twitter used to be my jam. He messed it up for everybody. It's just so raggedy now. But when that was all happening with that transition, I remember looking on Twitter and seeing that a founder, a guy who had built a company and sold it to Twitter and was like working within Twitter and leading a group there, was fired just via like an email. Like, yeah, today's your last day at Twitter. Bye. And this is a man who built something,
Right.
sold this thing, came into this company, and that's what you get at the end of the day. You get the boot like everybody else. So it just was like,
It's on brand for America.
and unfortunately, it's the experience of a lot of founders after acquisition. So I'm like, bruh, pay me the cash. Like, low-key, y'all can keep your little equity and whatever else you got, too. Just give me the monies, and let me keep moving. That is my new exit strategy. But outside of that, I would say you got to be on top of the finances from the beginning. Like, that was my biggest headache, was being in the middle of an acquisition, trying to get my P&L from last year together. Just, I had not been on top of that. And so everything that I'm doing now, and I still need to be better even with being on top of the finances, I'm not even gonna hold you. But everything that I do now from the very beginning, I'm like, let me talk to my bookkeeper first. Let me at least get the books going. Right. Because you cannot be trying to play catch up with your finances. And a lot of times Black founders are like, we don't get the money other folks get, and we don't get the, X, Y, and Z, and folks can write stuff on the back of the napkin, and they get, funding from that. And I'm like, sure, there are some critical things that are happening, though, outside of just the fact that they're white and you're not.
Yeah, for sure.
One of those things is having some level of financial acumen and ability to really get into the numbers of your own company. A lot of our founders do not know their numbers, and they don't know the levers to pull to control the numbers. So even if they have fantastic numbers, they might not be able to tell you what is their customer acquisition cost and what are the exact things that they can do today to gain another 1,000 customers and lower their customer acquisition costs by $1.
Gotcha. So would that be the financial piece of it? Would that be the biggest mistake you see early founders making?
No, the biggest mistake that early founders make is they build shit nobody wants. That's the biggest mistake. The vast majority of founders that I talk to are building things that are never going to work because nobody wants to pay for that at scale. They just think it's a great idea because they're passionate about it. They care a lot. It's their baby, and that's fine, but it's not anybody else's baby. Everybody think they baby cute. Right. The baby might not be cute. The baby might be ugly. Your baby is not a Gerber baby. I'm sorry.
Can you give us an example of what an ugly baby looks like? You don't have to say who it was.
You know what? And this sounds a little crazy based on who I am and who I do it for. I had a conversation with somebody who told me they were building a Black version of LinkedIn. And I was like, who wants that? Well, people talk about, like, it's hard, for them to navigate the professional spaces and finding jobs, and they really want more community. And I'm like, I can find Black people on LinkedIn.
Right, yeah.
Why would I go to a Black LinkedIn? Please, who asked you? As a matter of fact, this is the test that I tell most founders, and a lot of them disregard it because it sounds hard or whatever. But if nobody is willing to pay for what you're building before it's even built, it's probably not an idea that people are actually going to pay for when it is built. If you can't get a critical mass of people to give you money in advance to access the Black LinkedIn that you're building, they're not going to do it once it's built. I hate to say it, but nobody wants a Black LinkedIn. And when people tell you that would be great, well, it's easy to say that when they don't have to fork up $1. Right. People will tell you all kinds of things. Oh, that sounds like a great idea. That would be cool. Mm-hmm. If you're like, okay, give me your credit card right now and pay me $25 so you can get first access to it. And they're like, yeah.
Right. Like you go on your LinkedIn, you got 200 Black connections already. It's like almost the same thing. It's essentially the same thing.
I can find Black people on LinkedIn, and the vast majority of things that are the Black version of something else are not going to work. Actually, none of them are going to work. Nobody wants the Black version of a thing. We've seen it time and time and time and time and time again. Yeah, some of the very few exceptions are like, if you are doing something that actually has some unique aspect to it, or the Black side of it is so culturally relevant that it resonates, like a Black card revoked, for example. Like, right. That plays on how we as people just like to interact with one another.
Yeah. It's a language we know.
It's a language we know, and it's actually fun because of that. So it's very different from, I'm going to go on this platform that doesn't have anywhere near the money that LinkedIn has to have anywhere near the features or capabilities. It's going to be a worse UI, UX experience. There are going to be fewer people on it, just so I can find the same Black people that are already on LinkedIn.
And there are already Black versions of, like, we have a Black Twitter. It's just Twitter, but it's just you create the experience you want to have. And it's already there, built in.
Built in. So you got to come with something new. So, for example, I started using Spill, and I still don't use it as frequently, but I started using Spill, and it wasn't a Black Twitter. Mm-hmm. I didn't get on there and be like, oh, this look exactly like Twitter. It's just Negroes. It was like, oh, this was very... it was very like internet language forward, like very internet generation coded. Mm-hmm. Right. So I was like, oh, you come in and like the whole thing could be just the meme or just the GIF. Like that's right. That you're leading with that. And it gave you a little fresh experience, and also felt like it was very millennial coded, which I'm a big millennial, although I've been accused. I be getting in these little internet arguments, and they be like, y'all, you Gen Z people don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, y'all think I'm Gen Z? Oh, thank you.
Millennial gang. All right. So moving forward, Fictive Ventures.
Yep.
You talked a little bit about meaning earlier in the interview in regards to going to Harvard and how it didn't mean anything. But what does Fictive Ventures mean to you, and what does it mean to the greater Black community?
I am hopeful that it will mean a new way of connecting people with capital and generating wealth in our communities. So the term fictive comes from the term fictive kinship, which is what sociologists use to describe the phenomenon in our Black community of creating fictitious ties of kinship where there's no actual blood or marriage relation. So my daddy is an Omega, and I got about 11 uncles
right.
that I grew up with that have known me since I was a little embryo. Mm-hmm. And they my uncles, and I consider them to be that. When they introduce me to people, they're like, oh, this is my niece. I'll call them for stuff, see them on holidays and all these kinds of things, even though we don't have any actual blood or marriage connection. That is fictive kinship in action. And you see it a lot in the Black community. That's how we interact with one another. We borrow the term fictive for the name of what we're doing with this fund, because we want to be the family and friends for Black founders who don't have a capitalized family and friend network. Mm-hmm. We have community all day, but we don't typically have the communities that can throw a few $100,000 into our ideas at the outset in order to help get us off the ground. So Jeff Bezos' parents gave him some money to the tune of a few $100K to start Amazon. We ain't got that.
Right.
That don't mean that we don't have the next Amazon or the capacity to build it. And so we want to see more of us come to fruition. Now I say, you know, the next Amazon, hopefully without the negative impacts on, you know, communities and ecosystems and all that jazz, because, you know, we're not here for that. But I do believe that Black people are the most innovative people on the planet. And I want to figure out in any way I can how I support that and help bring more of our innovation to the forefront. So Fictive, we invest very early stage into Black-led founders, Black-led tech startups across the country that are building products that we believe are either going to create a new market or expand an existing market, and also have some level of positive externality on their community. That does not mean that they have to be social entrepreneurs. This doesn't need to be a B Corp, but you can't be out here selling digital crack to the community, for lack of a better word, or lack of a better phrase. So that's what we're looking for in terms of who we invest in, but equally important is how we invest and also who invests in us. We are raising this fund from all Black investors. This will be one of the first venture funds in history to raise from a bench of all Black limited partners. And that's extremely important for us because there are not a lot of us on the other side of the table, and that impacts the outcomes and the results for Black founders. It also impacts how we're building wealth in our communities. When Uber's returning money to their investors, we not the ones getting them checks. When Calendly, built here in Atlanta, was cashing out and liquidating their early investors, we were not the ones getting that money, even though that's a company built by a Black founder. We got to be on the other side of the table too. We've got to be seeding these companies so that we are a part of their upside as well. This is, you know, as we're starting to see, and I think this is why venture capital is becoming more and more in the mainstream, is because we're seeing these people who are making millions and billions sometimes in tech. And we want that to be the case. I don't believe that anybody should be a billionaire. So, you know, not pursuing, you know, making a few Black people $1 billion at all. But I want to see more wealth creation in our community amongst us, not just for the founders, but also for the people who are investing in them, who look like us, in a way that helps build us as a community. And so from my point of view, our success with this first fund will, one, help to create at least 100 new Black investors who weren't investing in venture before, educate them around the space and kind of get them started so they can go on to make more investments, and then set us up to raise more money to do more, not just with respect to venture capital, because the vast majority of companies are not venture scalable and won't ever receive venture capital, and they don't need to, they shouldn't. But also to do other things. I want to be able to build a fund to build more supply chain that's Black owned. I would love, one of my goals is, how do we build a fund that invests into Black-owned essentials, grocery stores and logistics companies and manufacturers, et cetera. So this is what I hope is the starting point of what I call a new Black innovation economy. And heavily incorporating technology into how we build that innovation, but also centering community. We're not just giving money to these founders that we're investing in. We're giving them time and resources. We're giving them extended network. The people who are investing in us, we can call to be that next level of network for these founders who are often under networked as well, which shows when they're trying to get their first customers, when they're trying to get their first partnerships and sponsorships and all these things. So, we're really bringing a community together to work together in the way that we do, honestly. I feel like the outcomes for Black people are always worst when we're trying to mimic what these other people are doing. That's not how we operate. That's not who we are as people. And when we're out here chasing that white capitalist shit, it never turns out well for us because that system was built to put us on the bottom. We're never going to get to the top using that. So we're trying something new with Fictive.
There we go. That is amazing. I love to hear that. That's the type of work that needs to be done. And I'm sure you guys are, building a great network that's going to just continue for hundreds of years after it, because it just sounds powerful. And like I said, it's extremely necessary in our communities. So thank you for that. Now, we have had a pretty heavy conversation. I want to kind of change things up a little bit, make it a little bit lighter. Dre, I might need like 5 more minutes, brother. All right. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions about some fictitious investments or some fictitious companies. You tell me if it's a good idea to invest in or not. Okay?
All right. I'm going to do my best.
All right. So a Black-owned airline that only flies to destinations in the diaspora. Invest or no?
My eyes starting to twitch because the last time I was on a Black-owned airline, which I've flown on a Black-owned airline before.
Okay.
Whew, baby. Eric Air in Nigeria. Well, they are based in Nigeria, but they used to have a route that flew from New York to Lagos.
No.
Dear baby Jesus. I ain't never seen nothing like what I saw on that. And I was like, God, I love my people.
Let this flight land, please.
But sometimes they be getting on my nerves so bad. Oh, man. I am going to say that it is very possible that it could work out very well. It would require an extreme amount of money and logistical mountains to be moved in order to make it happen. So I probably would not be investing in that.
Okay.
At least not at the outset.
Right. Okay. I mean, it's all good. That's all good. Sometimes if it don't make sense, it don't make sense, right? All right. How about a co-working space that doubles as a daycare for parent entrepreneurs?
Now that one I like, because childcare is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
It's crazy. Apparently, that's one of the reasons why people like Lifetime Fitness. I think it is. I think it's Lifetime that they will. They watch your kids for a certain amount of time, and they also have apparently like a very limited but a little bit of co-working space. I think it's Lifetime, either Lifetime or LA Fitness. So I think that could be a great idea. The rub is to try to figure out how you do it in a way that still makes it affordable, but I could definitely see that being something that takes off.
All right, don't steal my idea. All right, a beauty brand that uses AI to mix foundation shades on demand.
I'm going to probably pass on that because on-demand wear, like you go to a vending machine and it mixes it, maybe?
Yeah, it takes your photo and it says, it analyzes and it puts together the different shades and says, here you go.
There's a lot of supply chain and logistics that goes into something like that to bring it to where the people need it to be. And the AI, the tech is just such a small component of making that business successful. You got to be where the people are. You got to figure out the delivery part, the maintenance part, who's going to service whatever it is, or if they have to actually go to a store and have that done, the labor that's required. There's so many moving pieces. People, I think that's a big thing. People always think the business is in the idea. The business is not in the idea, it's in the execution. You could do that idea with vending machines. You could do that with trying to get them into Sephora everywhere or an Ulta everywhere. You could do that with like partnership in a gas station, or maybe you build a kiosk that's standalone and you just put it in different places. You can do so many things with it, and the success of that business is going to depend on every single decision that you make along that path. So it sounds to me like a logistical nightmare that also requires a heavy supply chain input that is right now probably not the best thing to do, considering that we never know if our tariffs are going to be 87,000% or 80% or 8% because we live in the upside down.
Right. All right, so that's a bad idea. All right. How about a startup that rents luxury bags and jewelry for pitch meetings?
Particularly for pitch meetings?
Yeah.
Why for pitch meetings?
Because you want to make sure, or for whatever purpose. Let's say pitch meetings. Let's say whatever it is.
So I actually did meet a startup that's Black-led in North Carolina recently. I hosted a happy hour for founders, and that was the whole thing. Was luxury bag rentals. That's what they are doing, and they want to make it easy for people to rent out their bags, and they do everything from all the shipping to the cleaning, everything required, and then easy for people to rent the bags and return them. Mm-hmm. I went ahead and signed up for their wait list because I love me a luxury bag. I'm wearing today a Silver & Riley bag, which is Black owned, obviously, and made with Italian leather, extremely beautiful bag that I was very kindly gifted by the founder, Lola, but I love their brand, and just from her gifting me that bag, I think I've probably generated a few $1,000s in sales for them. Because people see the bag and they're like, where did you get that? And I'm like, this whole thing, this beautiful Black-led, Black-owned, Italian-made, bag. Oh, Silver & Riley. So I love that idea. And it also does require logistics, so a little bit of a logistical nightmare. But I'll say this. A lot of times people are investing in things that they're very interested in and that they feel like they can offer some level of unique advantage or unique aspect to as an angel investor, particularly, or as a venture capital investor. And so that piques my interest because it's something that I'm interested in.
Exactly.
When I was out here in the job market, my resume actually had a line for interest, and one of my interests was fashion trends and luxury handbags. So up your alley. I have a room in my house that I converted into a dressing room filled with luxury bags. So that speaks to me, which is why I would be more open to learning more about the business than other folks might be. Other folks who are huge makeup people might be like, hey, that makeup idea?
Right, yeah.
That AI makeup?
Right.
Like, yeah, let's make that happen. So it's very personal, I think.
Okay. So we'll give that one a 7. How about a 7 out of 10? All right, how about a Shark Tank, but only for HBCU grads?
I could see that happening. Mm-hmm. I could see that. Revolt has a show that's kind of like a Shark Tank style that's for Black brands. And it's not particular to HBCUs, but I could see that being very fun. Now, I would need it to be very well produced.
Yeah, it gotta be done right.
And I also would need all the shenanigans of HBCU, everything on there. Because the reason why HBCUs are amazing is because we speak a different language than other folks, So we I would watch it.
You would? Okay. All right. I went to Georgia State, but I used to go to Morehouse and Spelman and Clark all the time. So I know
We know. All the Georgia State folks was always on the campus.
Yeah, we used to go there all the time. All right. So this is going to be just a this or that type of thing, and you tell me which way you leaning. All right.
All right.
Vision or discipline?
Discipline.
Idea or team?
Team.
Team. Okay. Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings.
Early. Legal pad or Notion doc?
Notion. I love Notion.
All right. Networking event or deep work day?
Get you a girl who could do both.
Okay. All right. Both. We'll go both. Tech or culture?
Tech.
All right. Seed money or sweat equity?
Sweat equity.
Really? Okay. All right. Mentor or investor?
You need both.
Need both.
But a good mentor can lead you to the investor.
Okay. There we go. All right. Move in silence or market loud?
I don't be understanding this move in silence thing. like lasagna. Like,
Right.
Please shut up. I actually find stealth companies to be a red flag. So I'm going to say whatever the other thing was.
All right. Market loud. Okay. Coffee shop meeting or boardroom pitch?
Coffee shop meeting. I'm casual.
Okay. All right. Fund more women or fund more ideas?
Fund more women. Ideas are cheap and plentiful, and a lot of them are bad. Women.
Okay. All right. Beyonce level discipline or Kanye level confidence?
Okay.
Well, you know, not with the craziness.
You can only have that level of confidence if you're
crazy.
mentally unstable, which he is.
Yeah.
It got to be the discipline. It's the discipline for me.
Okay.
Would anybody rather be Kanye over Beyonce?
Somebody might. I don't know. I don't know who.
Somebody else who's
Mentally a little.
mentally touched.
All right. Invest in potential or track record?
I'm going to say potential.
Really?
A lot of people are tasked with trying to do something that hasn't been done before. I think Black people in particular are very good at figuring that out.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of us who's the first or one of the first or trying to, or whatever. Yeah. So I am going to go with potential. You got to be able to see the vision around the corner in order to really invest in some of the best things out there.
Okay. All right. All right. Pitch deck perfection or raw passion?
Passion, because pitch decks are mostly stupid.
Okay. All right. Atlanta or Silicon Valley?
Atlanta for sure.
Atlanta. Okay.
I ain't never done a deal in Silicon Valley.
Really?
I don't even know where Silicon Valley is.
I just had to throw that out there and make sure they know.
ATL all day,
All
baby.
Right, there we go.
I'm a Georgia girl, as we like to say growing up. I'm a DSGG.
Okay.
Yeah, do y'all know what that means?
They don't know what that means.
They don't know what that means. I'm a down
We
south
know.
Georgia girl. Okay.
Now this show is called Another 24. And the reason why it's called Another 24 is because that's the biggest blessing that we can get is another 24 hours of life. It's the one thing that every human being on the face of the earth can agree upon. We don't agree on much, but I'm sure that that's the one main thing. It's another day to chase your dreams, fix a mistake, right your wrong, continue down a path, start a new path. And for the young lady who's coming up, maybe she's at Spelman right now. We don't know. Maybe she's in Harvard Law School. But she's watching everything that you're doing, and she might be having a rough go at it right now. What are some words of encouragement that you would give her to help her push through her next 24? If you could, just take a look at that camera right there and give her about 30 seconds of some encouragement.
I already said it earlier. Do your best. Every day, your best is going to be different. And it will not look like what it looked like yesterday. And it might not be great today. Tomorrow, it might be the most amazing thing since sliced bread. But just do your best. Do your best. Remember community. And remember that the next 24 It's always new. It's always new. You can always do something different.
There we go. Thank you so much, Khadijah. Is there anything else you want to let the people know before we get up out of here?
If anybody wants to follow me on social media, I be talking mad cash money shit. You can always find me at Deja Don't Need Ya. I am Deja Don't Need Ya on all the platforms except LinkedIn, where I guess I'm a little bit more professional. Khadijah Robinson. But otherwise, Deja Don't Need Ya.
Don't need you. Hey, well, there it is. Thank you so much for coming. This was an amazing conversation. We got to do a part 2 because I got so much stuff I didn't even get to. But thank you so much. This was very eye-opening, and I think we're going to inspire a lot of people with this one.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you so much. And that's a wrap.
Yay.
That was good. That was good.